If maybe we can go straight to interpretation and then read the other part that way. This after, I think that will save us time.
Okay. So, hi everybody. We are about to start language interpretation setup.
Hola a todos, estamos por comenzar la interpretación. Vamos a activarla en un momento.
So after I enable language interpretation, which is not active yet, you will see a globe icon appear on the bottom of your screen.
Una vez que yo habilite la interpretación, ustedes verán el símbolo de la interpretación que viene en un globo terráqueo en la parte inferior de su pantalla.
When you see this globe, please click on it and click the language you would like to hear.
Cuando vea usted el símbolo del globo terráqueo, por favor, oprímalo para que usted vea la selección de lenguaje de interpretación.
You can also hear only the interpreted language, and you have to press mute original audio.
De esa forma, también usted podrá escuchar el lenguaje que ha seleccionado en la interpretación y también es importante que apague el audio original.
If you are joining from a tablet or a computer, you will have to tap on the 3 dots that say more instead.
Si usted nos acompaña utilizando una tableta o un teléfono inteligente, usted no verá el globo terráqueo, sino verá 3 puntos o la palabra more, o si lo tiene en español dirá más, pero es more, M-O-R-E.
Once you click on the 3 dots, you'll have to tap language interpretation.
Una vez que usted vea esos 3 puntos, tendrá que seleccionar donde dice Language Interpretation, si lo dice en inglés, o en español, que dirá Interpretación del lenguaje.
Then you'll have to tap the language you want to hear. So English if you want to hear English, Spanish if you want to hear Spanish.
Y ya ahí tendrá usted que hacer su selección, ya sea inglés o español, según la que quiera escuchar.
But most importantly, after selecting the language, you will have to press done to enable language interpretation.
Muy importante, necesita usted apretar la sección donde dice done o terminado para entonces sí activar la acción.
Perfect. And so with that, we're going to, should I start the interpretation now or run through language justice?
I think so. That way we will interpret as you speak as well.
Okay, perfect. So I will enable language interpretation.
Vamos a comenzar la interpretación ahora. Busque el globo en su pantalla o los 3 puntos, por favor.
Perfect. I have just enabled language interpretation. Please select the language you would like to hear. Once you have selected your language, please go ahead and show with your thumb or show a reaction that you've got it. Something to show me that you're on. All right, has everyone selected a language? Yes, yes.
You selected a language?
If you're on a tablet, you'll have to click on the 3 points that say more and click language interpretation. All right, and with that, I'm going to join the English channel. All right, can folks in the English channel hear me? Perfect, I see nods. Awesome, so we are gonna get started first with our principles of language justice. So this is to ensure equal and open communication for all. This is a shared responsibility among all the folks in this call, just like disability access. And like we just showed, everyone has set up language interpretation. Some tips for all of us to keep in mind is to please speak slowly and clearly. Think about key points you want to make and keep it brief so you can take your time. Don't use acronyms or jargon, since these don't translate well. And please stick to one language. Even though you might be bilingual or multilingual, we ask for the sake of the Zoom call, you stick to one language. And one other rule we would like to put forward is to say your name before you share your thoughts so that we can say on the interpreter line who is speaking. Okay, and so with that, I'm going to move on to our land acknowledgement. So this is a practice we are going to engage in every class, and it's so that we can center and offer a deep engagement to the collective space, place, history, and positionality with the intention of combating colonialism and centering indigeneity instead. And so right now, I will ask you to deeply reflect on the native lands that you are occupying. So if you are located in San Francisco, that is Ramaytush Ohlone territory. If you're joining us from Oakland, that is Ramaytush Chichenyo territory or Lisjan territory as well. And if you aren't sure what native land you're joining us from, there is a helpful guide that I will link in the chat for you to see. But this is just an offering that I would like everyone to engage with in some way. And if you feel comfortable, you can also come off mute and share the native lands that you are joining us from.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Linda, and I'm from Maloney land. When I was a kid, we went to Mission Dolores, and they told us that San Francisco was built on civilizations.
Yes. Thank you for that.
And I guess it's the Maloneys we're on top of. It's in the rotunda of Mission Dolores. They'll give you the full history. I don't know if they'll call it Maloney, though. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dharma. Is there anyone else that would like to share, either in the chat or out loud, before we move on?
So this is Henrietta, but I'm getting.
I heard Henrietta start speaking, but then got cut off.
Yeah, when I started speaking, there was feedback.
Yeah, there's slight feedback, but we can still make out what you're saying.
Okay, I don't know how to access rather that guide to see what native land you're on. Can I access it from here?
So if you're on the Zoom call, you'll have to go through the chat to access it, but I can also share it out at the end of the week. If that makes most sense. But yeah, it's basically just a website where you can put in your address and then it tells you the native lands that you're occupying right now.
Okay.
So I'll be sure to send it.
Keep busy.
Yeah. All right, and so with that, we're gonna move over to our community agreements. So these are the same from the classes before, but I'll just read them out loud so that we remember them. No bigotry, hate, or slander will be tolerated. Assume positive intent. All truth is truth. Take space, make space. So if you have noticed that you're asking a lot of questions, maybe take that as a moment to reflect and allow other folks to ask questions. The Vegas rule, which is what says here stays here, but what is learned here leaves here. Each one, reach one, teach one. Ask permission to inquire after a share. So if someone shares something personal, make sure you ask permission before you go around sharing that story. Practice self and community care. This might look different for everybody, but we're here to support each other's growth and needs. One mic, one voice. So if one person is speaking, that means everyone else should do their best to remain quiet. And this will also go back to our stack rule. So if you would like to speak during a presentation, you can either write your name in the chat to speak next, to put yourself in a line, or raise your hand with the Zoom feature that's located on the bottom of your screen. Or if you're on a phone, you can press *6 to raise your hand as well. Correct with care. Don't assume knowledge. If you're using academic jargon, please explain the terms. And I forgot to add to the slide deck this time, but Rebecca from the time before had asked us to include appreciate each other through culture and community. Is there any others that folks would like to add to our list?
Thank you, Joy. I'm reading the chat. Joy says she's an immigrant from stolen land to this one, guest of the Ohlone.
Thank you for uplifting that, Regina. All right, so now we're just going to run through some of the main stuff. This is a slide deck for the entire week, so we won't actually get through all of this today, but we're gonna do a small check-in. We've already done our community guidelines. We're gonna do a small presentation by me introducing social media. We're also going to have 2 community presentations, one by AntiPolice Terror Project, APTP, and Casa Justa, who will speak after the social media one-on-one presentation. And depending on the amount of time after, we're gonna go into how to create a Facebook account and run through some important announcements that are coming up. But yeah, so the order's a little changed on the slide, but we're gonna get through most of this today. All right, and so with that, we're gonna allow about 10 minutes to check in, but the check-in question for today is, what is your favorite dessert? So I'm gonna stop my screen share just so that we can hear each other's responses. And I will encourage you to especially think hard about this question, because we do have a graduation at the end, and who knows, some of them may be snacks that we have for our graduation too. So with that, you can either share in the chat if that's accessible to you, what's your favorite dessert, or we'll do it in a popcorn style. So after you share, you can ask someone else to share. And I see Angel, your hand's up, so I'll have you go first.
I like cheesecake.
Thank
Cora,
you.
my favorite dessert is coconut cake. Love it.
Laura, and thank you for practicing saying your name before you give a response. So.
I'm Dorma, and I'm really not fond of desserts. I like to eat good food. I don't have room for desserts.
What's your favorite food then, Dharma?
This is Maureen.
Well, I like lots of Indian curries. I just like good food that's prepared well. Masalas, I like good food.
Thank you, Dharma. And Maureen, I saw you rock it off. Would you like to share next?
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt, Dharma. Apple pie. This season, everyone in our, we have so many apples, incredible amount of apples this year in our apple tree. So we're going to get together during the week, and all the women in my family are going to make apple pies for Thanksgiving. So I'm sure we'll have some leftover for our graduation.
This is Aurea Duran. I'm not into desserts nowadays because I'm scared of diabetes. But my favorite dessert, if I can have one, is the leche flan custard. Lupita, is Lupita there?
Yeah, here I am. Yes, hi. Well, I like everything. Flan is delicious and custard too, but my favorite of all the time is strawberry ice cream. That's so good for me. Thank you. And should I pick someone? Is Aurea? Is Aurea there? Aurea.
Oh, I picked you, Lupita, I picked you.
I'm sorry. I thought it was Dharma, the person. I can't hear very well. So let me see who else is here. Oh my goodness, I can't see very well. Let's see. Connie, is Connie Barker around? Connie Barker?
I already put it in the chat, but strawberry shortcake is my favorite dessert.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I think this is Regina. I think you shared pumpkin cheesecake in the chat.
I did share pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh no, there's a lot of feedback. I think it's because the three of you are in the same room, possibly. But let's see. Tomasita, would you like to share?
Well, the other day I was at a gathering and somebody brought organic fruit salad, and it had peppermint, fresh leaves of peppermint and shredded coconut, and it was really good. So I really like that. And my other choice is tres leches cake. Has anybody had tres leches cake? Wow, that's some good stuff. It's between the
Good.
and the tres leches cake.
Would you like to call on someone else to go?
Yeah, how about Dorothy Cook?
Okay, I guess yogurt ice cream. My favorite dessert is yogurt ice cream. You know what that is?
Is that like frozen yogurt?
Frozen yogurt ice cream. And when you go to Safeway, if you don't get there early, people buy it before you get there.
Would you like to pick on someone else? I see Henrietta.
Dharma?
Oh, Dharma went.
Oh, she went already?
Mhm.
A pie. He put it on, he put himself on mute when I said it?
No, I was on
Oh.
mute.
Oh,
But,
okay.
This is Pi, who was brought up in the Oneida community, but did his education in the Mohawk community, all of the 9 tribes of the Iroquois tribes. And it's not pie, I'm sorry, pie is not my favorite dessert. So, and I don't like to slice up pie either. So anyway, I would say I'm go seasonal right now. My favorite is by the season. And this season, I just made a big batch of strawberry, apple, kiwi jam.
Say that
Yes.
again, what?
I made jam, but I used the green apples as a pectin, and then add flavor by adding in not only lemon juice, but kiwi. So it's a strawberry, kiwi, apple jam.
All right.
Yes, and I made a lot of it.
Okay.
Hint, hint, hint.
And in the chat, Henrietta says her favorite dessert is peach cobbler. And Joy De La Luz says their favorite dessert is Talente pistachio ice cream, Trader Joe's matcha green tea, and coffee ice cream.
Okay.
So it's just ice cream.
Perfect. Let's see. Jose, would you like to share what your favorite dessert is?
No, it's okay.
It's okay. No.
What about your favorite food?
Favorite food is, I don't have favorite food. I like to taste different food. So I don't specifically have one. I like Chinese, Mexican, different countries.
Oh, perfect. That sounds good to me though.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have language interpretation set up? Can you hear the Spanish audio, Jose?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just
Yeah.
wanted to share. All right. Does anybody else want to share their favorite dessert before we wrap this part of the check-in up?
My favorite pie is peach cobbler.
Oh, peach is good.
And with some yogurt ice cream on top of it, of course.
Yes, of course. What about you, Elmira? Do you want to share your favorite ice cream or dessert?
For the ice cream, I like the corn. What's that? Corn. Mais con queso.
Oh, that is good.
For the ice.
And I see Ellen, you have joined. Thank you for being here. We're just going around and sharing our favorite desserts as our check-in question.
You talking to me?
Yes, Ellen.
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Favorite dessert, pecan pie.
Yum. And I see Maya, you're also joining us. We're sharing our check-in question responses. What is your favorite dessert, if you want to share?
Oh, okay. Hello. Hi. Sorry, I a little off timing here. I might have found a wheelchair accessible van though, so I was just talking with someone. Well, I am in Lucky Supermarket at the moment, and I would definitely say various forms of ice cream with yummy, chunky chocolate and fruit and caramely things is my favorite kind of dessert. So I am looking for a dairy-free, yummy, chunky, chocolatey, fruity thing right this very moment. So these things.
Yum.
All right, and sorry, because I'm on a phone, I can't really see who to pass it on to.
No worries at all. I'll take it.
Okay, thank you.
And I see Luz is also here, one of our community presenters. Would you like to share
World Tragedy.
what your favorite dessert is?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Luz with APTP. And my favorite dessert, I like to bake a lot. And I like to bake cookies the most. Chocolate chip is probably my favorite, pretty basic. Thanks for having me.
What?
Yeah, thank you. I'd say for me, because I will also answer this question, I love the combination of fresh raspberries with chocolate. For some reason, those are like the dynamic duo. I
They
love
put
it.
him in jail? They arrested him? Oh, man.
Is everything okay, Dharma? I'm sorry, you're also unmuted.
Oh. I was just watching tragedy unfold.
Okay, sorry about that, but hopefully you can be here with us in your capacity, but also respect life happens. All right. With that, if anybody else would like to share, that's all the time we have today for the check-in. So I'm going to encourage you to share in the chat if you can. And with that, we're going to turn back to the presentation. So I will start to share my screen. I will also encourage everybody to mute your audio if you aren't muted right now, just so that we can reduce feedback. And I'll just.
Can I say something before you start? Mm-hmm. And that is, my pages are not numbered at all. So, it came in a pack.
I'm sorry, that's on me. I should have numbered the pages. I will remember to do it for the second PowerPoint. I apologize.
Well, also, take a look at, once you do it, take a look at the size of the print also, okay?
It's unfortunately that was one of the issues with this one is I couldn't get just 2 PowerPoint slides on one.
Oh, okay.
So it was mostly, yeah, I tried initially to try and increase the amount, but that's unfortunately not.
You wouldn't do it, huh? Okay, all right, I'm through.
I'll definitely number it next time. All right, so with that, I will share this presentation again. All right. So right now we're just gonna go through the basics of social media, why to use it before we turn the tables over to APTP and Casa Justa, who will explain why they use Facebook specifically today. So social media, who uses it? Individuals like you and I, learners, organizations and governments all use social media to push forward their own agenda and senses of community. So part of the digital organizing strategy and place for community growth is the main reasons most people use social media. And to give a sense of how the landscape of social media is changing, in 2015, just 5% of American adults used to use one of the social media platforms. So this means Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. By 2011, so in just 6 years, that share has risen to half of Americans, and 72% of the public uses some type of social media. So to say in a 6-month gap, majority of Americans have now started to use social media in some way in their everyday life. So this graph shows the landscape of who actually uses social media. So you'll see that Facebook has 2,489 million users worldwide, followed by YouTube and WhatsApp that are at 2,000 million users. Then it's Facebook Messenger, WeChat, Instagram, TikTok, and then it goes down the list to Snapchat and Twitter and Pinterest, which are very, very common in the United States. So they don't dominate the global landscape, but they definitely do dominate the domestic landscape in America. So this is just to give you a sense of the amount of users who are using social media nowadays. So before we really get into social media, there are a few basic safety tips that I will introduce. So we're going to talk primarily about Facebook today. And so some reminders for us all is to make sure you only add people you know on Facebook. And how exactly do you check? You can check through photos, their bio information that they share, or if you have their contact, like their phone number, it's good to ask if they are on social media, if they're on Facebook, to make sure that they are the correct person. Never share personal information such as credit card, social security number, addresses, or information that you wouldn't want a stranger to know on your social media. Watch out for impersonators. So think people like the IRS or government and company agencies will never contact you through social media or email. So be wary of these asks because they're usually phishing hacking attempts. And of course, lastly, make sure to use a safe password. And again, we're going to emphasize using a passphrase instead of a password so that people can't guess your combination to your account easily. And so before we really get into social media, I just wanted to do a poll to see who already has a Facebook account. So you can either raise your hand, show us if you do have one. You can also unmute at this time and just say it out loud. I see
Esther, I have one.
Esther.
Or McCoy.
I have one.
Elmira does. I see people raising their hands, waving. Wow, yeah, so it seems like majority of everybody on this call already has a Facebook.
What if you, Henrietta, what if you have a Facebook, but you never really activated it?
That still counts. So you'll be part of this program to see if you want to revamp your Facebook. I know that some of you also shared that you might have a Facebook account, but you've forgotten the password. So I will encourage you to actually come during office hours so that we can troubleshoot on your account together so we can make sure that you have access to the information there. But yeah, so in order to make a Facebook account, all you need to do is either have a laptop or a computer and need to sign up with your email or phone number. Some good techniques on Facebook is to add a photo to your profile so that your friends can identify your account. And so this is just a good practice to make sure that people know who you are. You can add basic information such as your birthday, your gender if you wish to share, so that other folks can identify you too. The nice thing about Facebook is that you can take information out anytime that you want. So if you want to share your birthday today, you can get rid of it later too, or hide it from your profile so other folks can't see it if that doesn't feel right.
Bisma, I have a question. When you open up a Facebook account using your phone number, is that the permanent phone number that stays forever with that account?
You can
you change it?
You can change it.
Okay.
And you can go into the settings and I can show you how to do that. I will also encourage you to hold onto questions until a questions part. So because it might get answered later in the presentation.
Okay.
Just for the sake of time and moving us along through our community presentations today. But thank you for that question, Joy. All right. And so relatedly, so just when you're adding people on Facebook, making sure that they're people you know, you can also unfriend a person on Facebook at any time. We'll also walk through how to do that in case you want to get rid of someone who has access to your information. Facebook can also be a place where you can join community groups. So it can be based on common interests like cooking, pets, social activities that you do. For instance, SDA, so Senior and Disability Action, has a Facebook group that you can join so that you have a sense of all the activities that other members are involved in. I'm also part of like a corgi group where people just post pictures of corgis, and that's also one of the social media Facebook groups that I'm a part of. So the range of the amount of groups you can join on Facebook are very, very wide. And so now I'm actually going to pass the mic over to Luz, who will be our first community presenter. I can still share my slides if that feels right to you, Luz.
I have some slides that I wanted to share. Do you think you could share my slides? Awesome. Great. Cool. And then I can just let you know when to go to the next slide. Cool. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Luz Hernandez. I am a volunteer with the AntiPolice Terror Project in Oakland. I've been a volunteer for about 4 years, and I help with their comms committee or communications committee. And yeah, this is just a flyer here that we typically use for advertising events on Facebook. And so this is a previous flyer we used to get people to go to city council to make public comment. So we could go to the next slide. Just a little bit about AntiPolice Terror Project. We're a Black-led, multiracial, intergenerational coalition that seeks to build a replicable and sustainable model to eradicate police terror in communities of color. We support families surviving police terror in their fight for justice, documenting police abuses, and connecting impacted families and community members with resources, legal referrals, and opportunities for healing. APTP also operates MH First, Oakland's first and only model for non-police response to mental health crises, substance abuse, and interpersonal violence. You can go to the next one. One of our biggest campaigns is also our Defund Oakland Police campaign. In 2016, APTP was the first organization to make this call. And yeah, currently one of our central campaigns. Next slide, please. APTP Comms APTP has a number of committees, and we have a Black leadership that kind of steers all of the work. And I and my colleagues meet with Black leadership regularly. Next. All right, so now getting into it. So we have at APTP, we have a Facebook page. So when you have an organization, you might consider creating a Facebook page for your organization. But before you set up your page, you want to make sure that you have the capacity to run it. We have a volunteer team of about 10 regular volunteers at APTP. And we have a multi-talented crew of people who can do a number of different things, like working with the media, graphic production, videography, photography, and some volunteers who only do the social media posting as well. So if your group has the capacity, I recommend having a dedicated person or multiple people whose only job it is to post on social media, because it is a job within itself. So ideally, the people who are creating the graphics and the videos and all the other creative content for your social media shouldn't be the same person that's posting. So just a thought if you have an organization that you're going to post for. Next slide. And yeah, so APTP has a number of different tools that we use in order to get our message out. We have over 20,000 followers on our Facebook page, and we've built that over the past decade of doing work in the community. We also use a number of other tools like email, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And it's really important for us to be posting across all the different channels in order to make sure that we're hitting all of our audiences, basically. But yeah, Facebook, it continues to be important for us. And for the cross-posting, sometimes putting together social media toolkits with everything you would need to post on different social medias is helpful. We could go to the next slide. And so why we use Facebook as organizers, we believe it's really important to meet people where they're at. And so depending on someone's demographic, Facebook might be the main social media tool that a person uses. And then we also know that our opposition is on Facebook. And so we want to make sure that our narrative is also being told on Facebook. We also want to make sure we're distilling some of the complex policies that we work on into accessible formats on Facebook and other social media. And then we also use Facebook as a digital organizing tool to get people to take action. And then some specific ways that we use Facebook. So I won't lie, like for us, our like engagement on Facebook isn't the greatest. We give it a lot more on maybe some of our other tools, but we still try our best to like continue engaging our Facebook list. But some of the things that have been most useful to us is the event pages option. To make event for every event or like city council, public comments, a rally, webinar, general meetings, we always make Facebook event pages. And on the screen, there's a photo or a screenshot of a Facebook event that we recently put together for a Justice for Jonathan Cortez rally in March. And Jonathan Cortez is a person who was recently killed by the FBI in Oakland. And so, yeah, there's also live streaming capabilities on Facebook. So anytime that we have an event, rally, or even a meeting on Zoom, we live stream that on Facebook and it notifies people that we're live. We also it's also really, really important that if you set up a Facebook page that you're regularly posting on Facebook so that your list can be regularly engaged. And that's when you have a call to action, they're going to be more likely to take action at that moment. And so some things that you could be sharing on social are graphics and videos that maybe distill some of the issues that you work on. If you had an event and you took pictures at the event, sharing about the event and how it went, and maybe having another call to action.
Thank you.
We're regularly talking to the media, our leaders. So we also share news articles, and news articles tend to perform pretty well on Facebook as a post, but just making sure that you add like a little description to your post. And then finally, running digital ads, that's a little bit more advanced, but it's something that's been helpful for us because we don't always have the capacity to share as regularly as we want on Facebook. But when we really need the attention, sometimes putting a little bit of money towards digital ads can go a long way if you have good targeting and maybe good creative content to put out there. But it does take planning, so you just got to be careful. You can't just like do that last minute. You have to plan for it. And then next slide, and this is the last slide. Sorry if I'm over. Cool. Just as an example of a way that a time period that we use Facebook is a lot is during our annual MLK Day event. Which is usually like the 7th, this year was the 7th annual day of action to reclaim MLK's radical legacy. We and our partners held various events throughout the weekend, and it culminated in a mass caravan on MLK Day. Our theme this year was Refund, Restore, Reimagine. And so, you know, some of those events we held and some our partners held. And so we had different Facebook events for each event that happened that weekend. And then our like partners that hosted events added us as co-hosts. And so that's a really important thing about Facebook events is like, if you add co-hosts, you can get more reach through your partners pages as well. And yeah, there was also one Facebook event that was for the entire weekend, and we kind of just had all the information about all the events in one place. During the mass, we live streamed all of the events as well. And then the mass caravan, we live streamed that as well. And I think even SDA helped us have like a little party, like a watch party for people who couldn't join with us in person. And yeah, so leading up to the caravan, we made like 10 different versions of the flyer and pushed that hard on Facebook and all of our social media channels. We also ran ads to get people there. And the ad on Facebook was just like a flyer that had like MLK on it. And we had to like get approval from Facebook for that. So that's just a thought if you ever consider ads. And overall, the weekend in Caravan was a success. We engaged over 2,000 people on MLK Day and further 5,000 during that weekend. And yeah, I guess just another time that we've used ads that maybe you've even seen is during our recent budget fight in Oakland, where we ran ads to kind of distill like our Defund OPD campaign, because I think there's a lot of misinformation about what defund means. And so we just created like a quick video that kind of broke it down really simply for people. But yeah, I think that's all I have. And I'm sorry if I went quickly, but if anyone has questions, I'll hang around till the end in case people do.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Luz. I just want to say that I have been able to attend a couple of monthly APTP meetings that have been very informative for me to learn about the initiatives that you all are fighting for and uplifting, as well as the actions. And if people really want to get involved, but they're not sure about the issues, you can sign up to attend their monthly meeting, which is a Facebook Live, right? And James Birch, usually I've seen him as the host, and we'll spend time breaking down each of the issues and how you can get involved. So for those of us who are looking to further and deepen our organizing work, Facebook Live has been a really good platform for me to work with APTP. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Regina. Apologies for the echo. But are there any other questions for Luz while we have them here?
I have a quick question. Thank you, Luz. I'm just curious how long it took to, from the time you open up the Facebook or the group organization to the 20,000 followers that you have today.
Well, I think we've been around for about 10 years and I wasn't there from the beginning, but definitely that's going to take a lot of deep work to get to that point. But, you know, we did get a lot of people join us last year during the uprising. And so that really helped, at least with our following. We kind of seized the moment when we saw that there was so much activity. And we made sure that we were engaging on all of our platforms so that people can see that we were doing the work and follow us.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then I'll have Dharma, I saw your hand go up, and Tomasita, I saw your hand go up. So we'll do it in that order. And anybody that wants to share, either raise your hand or put your name in the chat, please. So
I would like, hello, this is Dharma. I'd like to know how to go about to contact you. Lisa Ali. How's your name pronounced?
Oh, it's Luz.
Lou.
Luz.
Lou, okay.
Yeah. And I'll put my email in the chat.
All righty, thank you.
And again, I'll share out any relevant information in the chat in the email at the end of the week. So just so everyone knows. And then Tomasita, would you like to go?
Yes. I would like to know how does a person get Facebook to show you all your posts? Because, you know, I just get the few posts, I mean, from a certain same old people. And for example, if I were to sign up with Luz's organization, you know, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get the, you know, like there's people, I have 1,300 something friends, and I don't get their postings, and I love, you know, most of them. you know, the ones that I mean, there's a few people like that I have agreed to that I don't even know who they are. And I'm going to try to correct that. But, you know, I really want to hear about what my other friends that Facebook has decided that I don't get to get their postings. And I can't go through 1,000 people's names and, you know, like click on them to see if they posted anything recently, but I would like to just have in my feed all the posts from all of my friends. Is there any way anybody knows about how I can do that?
I can maybe help, but it might also help to like have a visual. But if you go to like AntiPolice Terror Project's page, you'll see like up at the top of the page 3 little dots, and you click on that, and then you click on follow settings, and you can check whether you want this to be a favorite organization that can pop up on your news feed more often. So yeah, once you follow them, the follow settings will.
Some of my screen is blocked on the slide. It's blocked out by a gray pattern, which was here before you presented. It was here from the very beginning of the Zoom. And I'm wondering, do you see that in the box, the right box? Do you have it grayed out? Or is it just on my computer? Or is it your gray out?
I think it might be something on whoever's sharing.
Because at the bottom, there's a rectangular gray box covering up the print, and on the upper right.
So I believe it's my share settings. So those are the controls for me to see the participants in the call and the panel.
Move them aside so they're not on the actual.
Unfortunately, there's no way for me to get rid of it because that's how I actually navigate in and out of the content, but I'll do my best so that it's out of the way for the main things. But to echo what Luz had shared, in order to follow a page, I searched internally within Facebook, AntiPolice Terror Project, and on the search engine at the top left, I clicked on AntiPolice Terror Project. And though I've liked it, if you want to make sure that you see the posts that AntiPolice Terror Project makes on your homepage, you have to click on the 3 dots on the side of the main page and press the follow button here. It's the first option. It's with the plus sign in a rectangle. And when you press follow, it'll automatically tell you that you're following this page.
And yeah, I think you can like, if you click back in there really quick, now you have the follow settings option, and you can even add as a favorite.
So you can choose, yes. So favorite would mean it would come up as first. Default means that it comes in the usual order from the page.
When you say usual order of the page, what does that mean?
That means so your homepage on Facebook is based on the time that the people you follow share something. So say 5 friends shared a post. The first post you will see is the most recent one that was posted on their social media, and then it follows in the time order that the rest were posted. But by pressing on the favorite option, it doesn't matter what time APTP posted, it'll be the first on your page.
Thank you.
But I have found that once I have favorites, I'm full, you know, like I have the maximum number of favorites already. And when I try to take people off being on my favorites to make room for new favorites, I can't do it, or I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do it to remove people from the favorites designation?
That's a good question, and one I can look into and actually discuss one-on-one with you in office hours on Wednesday, if that's useful.
This kind of question would be good for all of us to hear, because that's general use of Facebook, and that's one of the reasons we're here, I think. So
Yeah.
those questions on how things operate rather than one-on-one, it would be nice if they were part of the class.
Thank you for that suggestion, Anna, and I'll be sure to share it in class as well. It's just that I'm not able to make the content slide so quickly.
Yeah.
which is why I was pushing it towards office hours. But if it would be useful, you could also come a little earlier too, just because it might not be covered in the presentation, but it would be. Flor, escucha. You'll have to, I'll have someone interpret.
Pi has his hand raised since then Ellen.
Okay, perfect. And Flor just entered the call, which is why I said that. And so Pi and Ellen, and then we'll have to close questions after that.
No, my hand was up for something else.
Sí, la escucho.
I just lowered the hand, so I'm not.
En español, perfecto. Bueno.
And Ellen, would you like to share?
Yeah, I have a question. So like, for example, my union's retiree group division has a Facebook page, and I'm unclear whether it's something that individuals or like the Anti-Police Terror Project Facebook page. Is it something that only designated people can post to, or can anyone? So is it like a thing for all the retirees to talk to each other, or is it something where the person who's running the Facebook page talks to the membership? I don't understand it. I don't know how. I don't understand Facebook.
No worries, that's a good question. There is the option to create a Facebook group, which would be more like a community of people who can all post onto that group. And then there's a Facebook page, which is more like the organization who operates the page, or like important person who operates the page is like the only person who can post, and then people can comment on the posts. But for our account, for example, we have a group of volunteers who have access to posting, and anyone who posts, it shows up as Anti-Police Terror Project posted.
On that vein, is there a way, is that the only way that you can create a Facebook and not welcome comments? In other words, one of the things that I dread is to get too many comments, and it gets a little bit chaotic.
You can change the settings. I'm not like ready to tell you exactly how, since we don't block comments ourselves, but there is a way to limit comments on a given post. But yeah, maybe I can get back to you with that.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you. I just want to get a general idea.
Hi, it's Dharma. I have a question about group posting. Once you receive a post from a group, how are you able to post to that group that you're on?
So hi, Dharma. So
Yes.
We're actually going to run through the differences between a page and a Facebook group in the coming presentation. So you might actually get that question answered by in the future slides. And if it isn't, then I'll try to run through them specifically. But I want to respect Luz's time, and thank you for presenting APTP's work with us, and for everybody else's questions. If we can get a virtual applause for Luz for your time. Thank you. We also have Hunter here with us with Casa Justa, and so they will be presenting now. And I can start sharing my screens if that feels comfortable for you, Hunter.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Hunter. I'm the lead communications organizer at Casa Justa Just Cause. And for those of you that don't know our organization, we're a group of folks building power in Black and brown neighborhoods in Oakland and in San Francisco through fights against displacement and state violence, and for housing justice. And I know that this is a kind of a specifically focused on Facebook, but I wanted to give you a taste of one of the tactics that we often utilize or we promote via our Facebook page, and is a really effective strategy for engaging people in our campaigns, and folks that might not be able to join in an in-person action, and they are phone zaps. And phone zaps are also called call-in campaigns, but they're a tactic that we've used and promoted digitally to do things like try and get folks released from jails during the peak of the COVID crisis, to try and stop deportations, to target abusive landlords, to have folks call in against them, and to call elected officials. And if you go to the next slide, what's exciting about a phone zap is that it's a direct action tactic. So it's not just about making, it's not just about spreading information about the cause that you're organizing for, or about making an appeal to a public official, but it's also about disrupting their day. So landlords, city council members, board of supervisors, they all work out of offices and they have phone lines. And if you clog them up, you can make their day a lot more difficult. Sometimes that can be a really effective tactic to get them to listen to what you're asking them for. So if you go to the next slide, I can walk you through an example of a phone zap that I created. So this was around the Oakland Tenant Protection Act upgrades. So just talking about the anatomy of a phone zap is you write your call to action. So this is demanding city council upgrade Oakland's tenant protections. And then you have a specific kind of time period that you want folks to call in during. This one's Monday through Friday. It's maybe a little large. We were kind of trying, we had a larger range because we were kind of training the folks that were following us on Facebook to start participating. But generally, if you can limit it to a single day, then you can kind of focus your attention, because a trickle calls is not going to be as disruptive as if no one can get calls in because you have so many people calling your line. Which is a large conversation for those that aren't super familiar with hashtags, but bit of text that when you make a post on Facebook will create a link that you can see other people that are also saying about the same thing. If you go to the next, if you skip ahead 2 slides. Oh dear, it looks like I am frozen. Cool. Can folks hear me okay? I'm gonna move where I am just to see if I can get slightly better internet. So sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you.
We can
hear you.
Okay. Like we got.
We hear
All right,
you.
great. Okay, you all froze for me, but I guess yeah. Right now.
We did have a bit of a breakup when you were explaining what hashtags were. But don't worry about it. We're also going to cover how hashtags are later in the course, so no worries.
Terrific. Okay, great. So when you're creating a phone zap, you generally want to write a sample script for folks because not everyone is really comfortable talking on the phone, and giving them an idea around what they might want to say is helpful. And it's also a way to share information that you might want them to know about. So you You don't want to write a really super long post that's explaining everything, but you can explain things within your script. And if you keep the script short, you can create graphics like the ones I've shown here for kind of promoting the Funds app. You don't have to have a graphic. So if that's something you're not comfortable creating, you don't have to have one. You can just have text. But in general, your social media posts are going to get more engagement if you include some sort of visual. So even if you're linking to a Google document that is also just all text, that is one option. Or you could link to another website page. And if you have a website that is kind of related to whatever you are encouraging folks to call in about, you can also include a link on your graphic like I have down here. This is a bit.ly link. Bit.ly is a website that allows you to shorten links so that they fit easier on graphics. And all of these graphics were created on Canva, which is a kind of simple introductory website that has a lot of templates for creating graphics that can be used on social media. And then if you want to skip 2 more ahead. So you're also going to want to create, pick your targets, just like for any other direct action. You want to know who do you need to influence. And so for this was calling in to Oakland City Council. The blue one kind of was all of the city council members and all of their kind of social media information and their phone numbers. Sometimes that's effective, particularly for like Board of Supervisors, because you can say, make sure to call your supervisor specifically. But in general, if you can limit it down to a few key targets, you can increase your impact there. And one thing that I have really learned is make sure you check that your numbers are actually still up to date and still accurate. So make sure that you call them yourself before you put them on the internet and encourage other people to do it. Yeah, and then you're going to want to share these on your social media. So upload them to a Facebook post. And then after your kind of call-in campaign is live and going, if you skip ahead to again, you can kind of keep up the engagement by sharing updates and following up with people that follow you on Facebook. So in this one, they let the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee let folks know that the governor's office is being disrupted. They're getting a lot of calls and they're being really rude to folks that are calling in. That's one way to give an update. And it says that they're telling people that are calling in that we're drafting a report for the public, but it's a way to say, we don't want a report, we want, I'm not entirely sure what they were fighting for here, but we want something larger. And then this is another one with an update from a supervisor in Alameda County saying that they're planning on going to the jail to visit with the incarcerated person that the Funds app was trying to support. So that's a great outcome that happened because of the Funds app. And keeping those updates is a great way to generate more support and get people engaged. Which brings it to all of you, if you're not creating your own Funds app, which is definitely something that you can still do with your neighbors. Say you're having problems with your landlord, you can organize together and all call in and get all your friends to call in and make them make repairs or things like that. These are tactics that we can all use together or with an organization that you're a part of. But also, if you are wanting to support with the Phones app that someone else created, you can also share that on Facebook. So if you skip ahead, or just next slide. So if you go to a Facebook post on an organization's page, you can, if you click the share button, you'll have the option to share to a page. Or if you are someone who manages a Facebook group, you can also share, or part of a Facebook group, you can share to a group. And that will copy over, it'll include all of the original text from the post that you're copying. So you don't necessarily even have to write any new content yourself, but anyone that follows you on Facebook will see the original post that you're wanting to share, which is a great way to get the word out. One thing that's really tricky about Facebook is that if you manage an organizational page, they have these things called algorithms that kind of determine how many people see your post. And they really don't prioritize organizations, but they do prioritize individual people. So you sharing these posts can get, can share a Phones app out so much faster than an organizational page can promote. So you calling and then you sharing it to your friends on social media can really amplify the Phones app and really increase your impact. And then if you go to the next slide, you can also tag or link to the organization that you say you did the phone script and you're calling in, or you did your call and the supervisor or told you something juicy that you want to share with the organization. You can do that either by making a comment, or you can do a Facebook post and you can tag them. So you do that by using this @ symbol. And then you type out the name of the organization, or I'm not sure what the actual term is, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a special kind of like Facebook name that will allow you to link to another Facebook page. And when you type it in, you might have to type out the whole thing to do it. It will pop up the name of the organization, and if you click on it, it will link other people to that Facebook page and also let that Facebook page know that you've kind of posted at them. And if you go to the next page, next slide, down here right below the organization's name, and Protect Oakland Runners is a coalition that Casa Justa is a part of that I've done a lot of these Phones apps for, so that's why I'm including it here. They have that @ Protect Oakland Runners that you can use to then link back to the organization. So that's how you can find it. And not everyone actually uses kind of their full common name. I think ours for the Casa Justa Facebook page is like Casa Justa 1. I don't know why anyone set it up that way, but that's how it is. And now we can't change it. So that's how you have to link to us. So that might be true for organizations that you're a part of too. But yeah, so Phones apps, those are something that we really use often on Facebook, and it's a great way to get folks engaged that are normally kind of it might only be active online, or it's a great way for folks that are part of organizations that want to get their friends involved too. It's kind of an entry-level ask that you can make of them to participate. So yeah, I may be over on my time. I forgot to set a timer, but I'll hand it over to you, Bisma, and see if we've got time for questions, or if you need to get started on the next part of your meeting.
Yay, thank you so much, Hunter. I think we'll allow time for, let's say 2 questions because we are running a bit behind. But thank you so much for your presentation. It was very informative for me too as a digital organizer. So can we give a small round of applause for Hunter as well? And any questions? We'll allow for 2 questions.
Thank you, Hunter.
Okay, nobody has a question but me? Okay, I'll ask a question then. And that is, it's seemingly the landlords are the enemies to the renters on these presentations, you know, and so can we, I don't know how to address the fact, you know, that you hear both sides, the landlord side and the renter side.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from Kazuhista's perspective. Like, we're an organization that represents tenants. So that is the voices that we are trying to promote. We do have some folks that are supporters that are also landlords that believe that having tenant protections improves our communities and keeps us all safer, and is also helpful for them as landlords because then they're not competing against kind of slumlords that are able to maybe offer cheaper prices because they're not bound to actually maintain their buildings. And then I think that there are other organizations that do exist for landlords and avenues for them to raise their voices and voice their concerns as well.
Thank you for answering that question, Hunter. And I see Maya, your hand's up. And so you'll have our final question.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Hunter. And I'm sorry, I'm zooming around in my wheelchair while listening. Yeah, I'm 55, so I'm a baby senior, queenager. And I just started using a wheelchair like 2 years ago. So it's my first time being a disabled senior tenant. And I'm wanting to organize in my apartment building because there's major needs for wheelchair ramps and accessibility to bathrooms, laundry, pool. There's about 145 units. And I'd love to, I don't know if there is, I know we've been talking about doing, tenant organizing in SDA, but I'd love to collaborate with Kazuhista multilingually with seniors and disabled folks, centering BIPOC communities and having it be, multilingual and LGBTQ folks and stuff at our various intersections. But I'm just wondering, because I'm trying to build a good relationship with the building managers to get this stuff done. I'm the only visible wheelchair user out of the 145 that are using canes and other mobility devices or look like they're struggling with the stairs. I'd love to learn to be a senior disabled tenant organizer and not leave this place until they get, external elevators and ramps in the places there should be. But I was just curious if you do, I could make a portrait on each other's buildings and share tips on what we're doing. And, I also know that I'm in San Leandro, so I'm in Community Resources for Independent Living, or CRILS district. And I used to live in Oakland, so I would have been in the Berkeley, CIL district and stuff. So I know it often takes like 5 or 10 organizations working together to make one thing happen for once about the intersections organizing.
Yeah, I am afraid that my internet was cutting out a little bit with what you were saying, but I am really potential, like, because have been close for years now. I don't know I haven't been around long enough to know the full history of that, but I think that, like, even within our own membership, we, a lot of our members are seniors, a lot of our members are folks that identify as disabled, and I think that there's a lot of ripe opportunities for collaboration there, and a lot of need also within our communities, because so much of, unfortunately, a lot of the, like, tenant protections that we've been able to win are limited to these older buildings that are not buildings that are accessible to the people that need affordable housing the most often. And so I think that the, like, intersections of disability justice and housing justice are places that are, it's absolutely critical for us to be building power.
Thank you.
But Maya, if you want to send me an email if I didn't get I actually wasn't able to hear your full question, I will put it in the chat.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hunter and Maya, for that very important question of how to bring this back home to our communities. And likewise, I've learned so much about how to actually run a phone blitz that I think it would be incredibly useful to share back with our housing collaborative and to share back with different sections of SDA so that we can come together and organize both disability and housing issues together. And so thank you for that beautiful and wonderful presentation, both Hunter and Luz. And so with that, I'll also share out the contact information that was provided at the end in the email as well that was shared in the chat. And so right now I'm going to invite us to take a short 5-minute break and then come back to start some of our own learning around Facebook. But we're going to take a short 5-minute break right now. So please come back at the 38 of the hour. All right, let's have folks welcome back. Thank you for hanging in there through our 2 community presentations. Welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. Let's get a reaction from folks that are off camera so that we know you're here. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my slides again. And we're going to run through some of the questions that were raised by some of you in the questions section of Luce and Hunter's presentation. Okay. So first, we're going to just begin with some terms on Facebook, just to give ourselves the language to be able to engage on the social media platform. So the first term I will bring to our attention is what's called your wall or timeline. This is where you share information with your friends and networks, and is where your profile picture sits along with all the posts that you've made in the past. Your news feed is a constant stream of information that contains posts and updates from your network of friends or any organizations that you follow as well. So that's the actual meat of where Facebook lives, where you're interacting with other people in a scrolling fashion. That is called your news feed. Facebook Messenger is a second-party app that allows you to chat with friends on Facebook. And so we're actually going to exercise this last feature together, as I made a Facebook group for SDU students for this cohort. So you'll have the ability of joining a Facebook Messenger group with all of us as part of the class. And I see, Regina, you have your hand raised.
Yes, Bisma. Is it possible to pull up SDA's Facebook and show what a wall or timeline is and show what the news feed is so that we can get a visual?
Yes, thank you for that. So I actually have slides that will walk through the different parts of it, but I can also stop my screen share and do that right now.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
And so I will stop my screen share so that I can share my full screen. All right, so I will screen share again. So this is Facebook's main page. I'm currently logged into my own personal Facebook. So this main part of the homepage where I see updates from my friends is what's called the news feed. So you see a post from Aria, you see a post from Senior and Disability Action, but these are all things that are appearing on my timeline based on my Facebook friends and the organizations that I follow. So this little icon on the top right, where it shows my little profile picture and I have my name, Bisma. If I click on it, it takes me to my profile page. And so here is now my own profile engagement. So you see the posts that I've made in the past. So you see I have my incense post, I have my conservatorship share that I did for a Mad Mob event. You see me sharing from the Indigenous Environmental Network. So all the different posts that I've made that I have a history of, the old free Wi-Fi video that Lupita and a revoice with Greg was shared. So that's here too. So anything that I shared in the past will be present on my profile. So those were the two main elements that I wanted to share. And now I'll go back to the SDU slides.
Thank you, Bisma.
Awesome. And so now we're going to explore the different elements of the profile main page. So here, let me clear some of the space. Okay, here is the main profile page. So where I took you before on the live version, I wanted to flag two main features in this section. First is the Friends tab. So that's what's marked number 1 here. This is where you're able to see all the people that you have friended and accepted a friend request for, and is where you can go to unfriend someone if you no longer want to be friends with them, or you could see pending requests for friends as well. The second feature I wanted to flag on the main profile page is the Edit Profile button. The Edit Profile button allows you to change things like your profile picture, your cover photo, which sits behind your profile picture. If you want to get rid of or add your birthday, you can do it in that tab as well. But that's where you're able to edit the information that others can see on your Facebook. So you can add things to your intro. For instance, here in my profile, I've added that I am the digital organizer for Senior and Disability Action. I put where I live, but that is up to you and your discretion on whether or not you want to share. I wrote that I am from Chicago because that's where I grew up and was raised. But you can put as little or as much information as you feel comfortable with. Some other features that I want to flag on the main profile page is number 3. This is the toolbar for Facebook. I will walk through what each of these individual features mean in the next slide, but this is a nice panel that allows you to easily navigate in and out of Facebook's big features. And number 4 is where it says a box, what's on your mind, is where you can post to your newsfeed and where you can post to your friends that are following you to see the content or giving a life update that you would like. So anytime I want to post about my incense, anytime I want to post about my life, I will put it within this what's on your mind button and share it with my friends. And so now I'm going to break down what the icons mean in the menu button that is sitting in the top right corner. So you saw that my profile picture and name, that is the button that will allow me to click back to my profile. The little 3x3 grid is the menu button. So the menu button allows you to look and search for different things on Facebook, including groups, pages that you're a part of, requests that you might have for friends, just all of the big things that Facebook has to offer is accessible through the menu option. Next to the menu button is the instant messenger button. So it's a little thought bubble with a lightning bolt in between. This is where you're able to access that second party app that I was talking about for group chats or individual messages to friends on Facebook. So again, this is where you'll navigate to find conversations that you're part of in a group chat. Next to that is a little bell icon. This is the notifications button. It lets you see anytime someone has engaged with a post that you have made. So if someone has liked or commented on something, you're able to see it through the notifications button. Also, if someone has tagged you on a post, you'll be able to see it. And I'll walk through what each of these different things mean in the future slides. And the last little icon is the account button. The account lets you go through the different settings that you want to set up for Facebook. So if you want to change your privacy settings, your location settings, your language preferences, all of this will be accessible through that account button with the little upside down triangle. Now, I will run through how to actually create a post on Facebook. So you saw that little button that said, what's on your mind? This is just the enlarged version here. You can type anything, as little or as much as you want, to share with your friends. The thing about Facebook too is you can actually alter who the post goes out to. So the default setting on Facebook is for everything to be shared with your friends. You can change this by actually clicking down on this little tab that says friends under your name. And then you can change based on the options on who can see your post. So public means that anyone can see it who is on or off Facebook. So if someone was to search my name and if I made a post public, that would be the only information they'd see about me. You can share it with your friends, so the people that you've included in your network. You can also specify and say, show these friends except. So if you are avoiding someone specific or a group of people particularly on your timeline, you can choose that option. You can also say only me. That means that only you, as the person of the account owner, can see that post. And so that could also be good to preview a post. So before it goes out, you want to see what it would look like, you would click that button. Are there any questions while I'm running through this? All right, seeing that there are none, I'm going to keep going. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook Messenger group chats. So you can get direct messages from friends and community pages on Facebook. So again, this is within that menu icon where you can see the small chat box to see messages. You can also create group chats, and you can also download a specific app called Facebook Messenger on your phone as well to access the chats that you have on Facebook. So this is a screenshot of the past SDU group chat that some of the people in this call were actually involved in. So you see the message from Aria and Lupita in that group chat that I took a screenshot of. But we will be making our own group chat as part of the winter 2021 SDU cohort. So that's to come for us. So we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between Facebook groups and pages. So groups are virtual community spaces to connect Facebook users on common interests. Anyone can set up a Facebook group, and you can even join up to 6,000 other groups. So the sky is the limit here. Some groups on Facebook are secret, and so you can't actually search for it, and only an existing member of that group can invite you in. Groups can either be closed or public, and this will determine whether or not it is searchable. Only the admins of a group can delete or manage a post. You can also change the settings so any member is able to do this within a Facebook group. Additionally, there's no limit to how many members can join a group. Groups are different than pages because groups allow you to connect and comment on each other's posts and to encourage dialogue among an existing number of people. And so Facebook pages are slightly different. Pages are places on Facebook where artists, public figures, businesses, brands, organizations, and nonprofits can connect with their fans or customers. So when someone likes or follows a page on Facebook, that's when you start seeing updates from them in your own newsfeed. It's really great for branding, for building up a following, or showing events that are part of a organization. So here on this page, I have linked the Senior and Disability Action Facebook page, where we also post regularly and engage with folks in the community that way. And so if you search on Facebook for Senior and Disability Action, you can actually find our Facebook page, like and follow it as well. You can also post as your own person to our Facebook page as well. Are there any questions on the difference between the Facebook page, group, and chat?
I have a question. I guess on the last part you went over, if someone tells you the only way that you're going to get an announcement from them is to go on Facebook. So how do you, if you don't go on Facebook all the time and read everything that goes on there, how can you check that particular person that's in the head of that organization or whatever that put some information on there that you need?
Mm-hmm.
Is that clear?
Yes, that is clear. And so I can
Okay.
actually walk through how to do that, because that's a very important thing that I regularly have to do. So
Okay.
I will, just to make sure that I have your question correct, I'll restate it back. But is your question how to search for a particular post by an organization on Facebook?
That's it.
Perfect. Okay. So I will exit from the PowerPoint and go back to Facebook. So here, let's say that someone asked me to engage on a particular senior and disability post. So they're like, oh, we just posted something on our page, please go like and engage on it. So what I do is I go to Facebook, log in, and then click on the search bar up here and type in Senior and Disability Action. So I click on it. I found the page itself. I'm going to click on the page. So this is slightly different than what it would look like for you, because I'm one of the admins for the page. So one of the people that run it. So there's a ton of extra like settings. But basically, if you scroll down, you will see the first post or the most recent post that Senior Disability Action has put out. So this is something that I just put out about the free Wi-Fi action that's coming up. But as you scroll, you'll get some of the older posts that we have done.
Okay.
Yeah, so all you have to do is press the search bar, type in the organization that you're looking for,
Okay.
page, and see their feed.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course. And we are a bit limited on time today because we had those group presentations. So I'm going to actually run forward to the tasks for today. So I want to encourage all of you to search for Senior and Disabilities Actions Facebook page and try to engage with one of SDA's previous posts. So you can either comment, you can like, you can share on your own timeline, anything to kind of show that you know how to get to the page itself. I also want everybody to add me, Bisma Farzan Sayed, that's my full name, on Facebook, so that I can add you to the Facebook group chat that I have created for this class. And that group chat will be a great way to just give each other some motivation if you're watching some of the videos, to share if you have any questions. It'll be a good way to learn from each other. And so if you add me on Facebook, Bisma Farzan Sayed, I'll also put the information on that in the follow-up email. But when you add me as a friend, I can then add you to our Facebook group, group chat, I mean. So and I'll show you a little bit about where it is right now, but this is what it looks like, the SDU winter group chat. So far, there are a few members that I put in based on my own Facebook friends that are part of this class. So Aria is part of it, Regina, Maya, Elmira, Cora. So we'll be able to add more of you if you can send a friend request to me on Facebook. And if you're unsure of how to do that, we can spend some time on Wednesday's office hours to figure that out together. But then you'll be able to be added to this nice little chat for our class. But I will stop sharing my screen. But how are we feeling? We got through all the content today.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we covered quite a bit. And if I understand, what you want us to do is go to our Facebook page, and is it going to SDA or just go directly to your page?
So first you can, the first task is to like and engage on SDA's account. So you'll search.
Oh, SDA.
Yeah, so you'll search for SDA on Facebook and like or do whatever you want just to engage with one of the posts. And then the second one is to add me as a friend on Facebook. Cora,
oh yeah, add a friend.
You're already added as a friend, my friend, and I've already put you in the group.
Yes, I saw that, but I still need to do it so I could choose some of the other students, I guess.
Yeah. Perfect. And finally, I just want to run through some announcements and allow other folks to also give announcements, but I'm going to share my screen once more. So tomorrow, the free Wi-Fi group is actually having a quick hit action. So we're planning on meeting at the Willie Woo Wong playground on Stockton and Sacramento Street to walk over to the Chinatown AT&T building to present our demands. So that will be tomorrow from 12 to 1 p.m. And then additionally on Friday, we will have a protest against conservatorship outside of San Francisco General Hospital on 23rd and Potrero from noon to 4. So the reason why we're holding this event is because that's the day that Britney Spears' trial is for her conservatorship hearing. And also it's symbolic of the place where a lot of people enter medical incarceration and starting the conservatorship process. So that's the reason why we're holding it outside of San Francisco General Hospital. But hope that you can make it to these two events. If you can, let me know so that I can know to expect you there.
Okay, so Bisma, this is Henrietta. Do you have to have an active Facebook in order to access Facebook?
So you do need an account itself. So with an email or phone number that you signed up with to be able to join things like a Facebook chat or to see a group itself. The only feature on Facebook that doesn't require an account is viewing Facebook events. You can see Facebook events without an account.
Okay, so to do the assignment that you have for us, we have to access that through an active Facebook account?
Yes, and so it's okay if you don't want to create a Facebook account. You don't have, you're exempted from the assignment. However, if you do want to make an account, know that it's within the safety of this class of allowing with guidance to figure it out together.
I can't figure out how to add to Facebook.
Thank you.
You can't figure out what?
You know, to add a person to Facebook, you know, I always have to have people add me to their Facebook because I don't know, and then I just accept it because I can't figure out how to add people myself to Facebook.
Okay, I can show you really quickly, but I also want to be respectful of the interpreter's times. And so I will show you, Tomasita, how to add someone on Facebook really quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen once more. So let's say that I want to become friends with someone on Facebook. What I'm going to do is search their name in the search engine up above here. So Tomasita, I'm going to trial with you. So Tomasita Medal.
Yeah, there's two. There's one with my picture. That one, the top one, that's me. That's the one.
Perfect. So do you see this little icon on the side of your name?
Ah.
It says add friend.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not on mute, wait.
That's how I would add. You can also click on someone's profile to see if they are the person you want. And there's a blue button that appears at the bottom of their name that says add friend.
Okay, how did you get to that now?
So I just searched for your name. And when I searched for your name, it took me directly to your Facebook profile page.
Could you please add me?
Yes, I will add you right now. There we go. I sent you a request, but that's how you send a friend request on Facebook. And I'll also show you while we're here how to add someone to a group chat. So because then I'll just add Tomasita. So basically, because I'm the admin of this group chat, I will click on the chat settings and click down on the menu that says add members. And now I'm going to put Tomasita's name. There we go. And then once it's highlighted blue in this cursor, I'm pressing the return button so that I can add Tomasita to the group. And now I got the notification that Tomasita was added.
Thank you.
Isma, when you add each person, does it show up on a contact list that's alphabetized somewhere on Facebook?
Does it show up on a contact list that's alphabetized?
Like, so if you have 2,000 people, and every time you add, like you said, address or her name, does it click into a system that adds her to the thousands of people you might have on your list, alphabetical way?
Sorry, there's a lot of feedback and I'm having a bit of difficulty understanding your question. But basically when I added Tomasita to the group chat, it put her information along with all the other class registrants. In terms of searching for a friend, you saw that there were a bunch of other people named Tomasita that came up. And so it was I had to go through the different profile pictures to figure out which one. But Tomasita made it easy by telling me that it's the one with the wolf. But I don't think it actually alphabetized and any of the like members that are part of the group, unless, yeah, I don't think that it does that, unfortunately. Yeah, Facebook doesn't track its metrics that way. But thank you everybody for
let me ask you to repeat the announcement for tomorrow. Was that tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow from 12 to 1 p.m. We're meeting in front, or we're meeting on Stockton and Sacramento's park called Willie Wong Park. And we're gonna walk over to the Chinatown AT&T store to present our demands.
Okay, rain or shine.
Yeah, rain or shine, I'll be there. So you'll see me. Awesome, but thank you everybody for staying over. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Elena.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.